Hi there, neighbors. Welcome back to the channel. This is Anarchy in the 603, and you're in for yet another postcard from your friendly neighborhood anarchist. Absolutely nobody's favorite, 100% D-tier quality in production, off-dome, unscripted, barely edited dispatch from wherever I am now to wherever you happen to be at the moment. Currently sitting in my car. Had to take one of my housemates to work today. Typically about this time of the week, I spend a couple of afternoons a week learning the art and craft of cobbling, actually, from this mentor of mine that I met when I needed some boot repair. I don't get paid for it. I get paid in experience and companionship. And that's really all I require from it. I mean, the knowledge itself is like everything, plus the accommodations. Like, he literally doesn't care if I need to take a week off because I'm crazy. And yeah, I guess that's kind of what I'm coming here to talk about today. I have been in a disability fight for the last 4 years. See, prior to this, the last career that I had in my long and varied and adventurous career in the workplace, I last worked for New Hampshire DHHS in their Family Services Division, helping to administer Medicaid, SNAP, and other social safety net benefits to the citizens of New Hampshire. That was basically my dream calling. I'd always wanted to work in social services, and given that initially my plans had been to go to school and finish school for jazz vocals and musical theater, which was my original education path, it was a big departure from the OG plan, but you kind of stumble into, your career calling separate from your passions sometimes along the way like that. Well, I started working at 11 in my dad's workshop. Then I started working for, your typical high school Joe jobs when I was 16. And I didn't really stop working until after I was married back in 2000. Well, we had our son 11 months after our wedding date, and then 4 months after our son was born, on the day of his 4-month-old well baby checkup, the country got 9/11, y'all. And it wasn't long after that, about maybe another 6 or 8 months, where my husband got full-time deployed through the Army National Guard, and I got to be a stay-at-home mom for 4 years while my husband was part of a joint security force between the Army and Air Guard units out here in New Hampshire, down at the seacoast. Anyway, went back to work when my son was just about to get into kindergarten, and I've been working since, all the way up until my brain went absolutely off the rails. Now, mind you, I sound pretty lucid now, and if you go back to my video from a few days ago, not this, I forget what I titled it, but not this last one I recorded, but the one prior to that, you can see how fast I can rattle off thoughts and still make some sort of sense. And yeah, so imagine trying to wrestle with that when it all first came bubbling to the surface 4 years ago, right? And I'm only able to be like this public with myself after 4 years of working really hard to contend with the full unmasking of the depth of my mental health diagnoses and just how deeply they do affect me, and how much I had been stifling things down my whole life and intellectualizing them, but never truly feeling or letting myself experience the raw emotion that was associated with all of the past events of my life. Like, I was never allowed to feel anything about what had been done to me, everything that I had endured and overcome and gone through. I was just, it was not a luxury afforded to me previously. And I have had to spend the last 4 years with my body finally saying, no, boss, I can't hold these feelings inside anymore. As outdated the book, The Body Keeps the Score is, there's still a lot of truisms to be found in there. One of them is that these emotions that you swallow when you have a traumatic experience, if you don't do something with them, if you don't let yourself feel them, if you don't reckon with them, they don't go away. They express themselves in different avenues of your life that you don't realize that they are doing until, years down the road, you can maybe look back with some hindsight and realize, my God, yeah, I can definitely tell where I was at now looking back. And I'm very lucky to be able to have that gift of self-reflection. Well, so I've had an attorney these past 4 years as we've been working on my disability. Because let me tell you guys, I am 46 years old and I look every bit of it. I am a shambles and I know it. This right here, this used to be a youthful visage. I used to look 10 years younger than I do now. But I have aged a ton in 4 years, largely from the stress and the financial uncertainty that comes with having lost an entire income and career, and not knowing whether a history as dark and riddled with nightmare fuel as mine has been, on top of all my physical disabilities from my genetic disorder, will be enough to convince this inherently cruel and denialistic system to give me back the money that I've been putting into it for 30 years. Just a nugget of that cash that I've been putting into it for 30 years, Technically, I've earned it for cases like this. And yeah, here I am, couple of days before my first of possibly 2 hearings. And I don't know how much y'all know about the disability application process. A few months ago, John Oliver did a really good spot on it that was super informative. I mean, it didn't tell me anything I didn't already know, but it certainly informed a lot of my close friends about, as to more about what I've been going through. And, fact is, I'm terrified right now because, I just dropped my scissors, because despite the fact that my attorney, hold on a second, you guys. So yeah, despite the fact that my attorney really does believe in my case, he wouldn't have been working with me this long if he truly didn't believe that it was winnable, somewhere along the appeal and denial process. He would have told me to give up. I have seen this man at work. I know the strength of his resolution when he believes in a fight, and I have a lot of faith in him. All that being said, despite the fact that I've been paying into this system for 30 years of my life, just about, except for 4 years wherein which I was patriotically raising my child at home while my husband was out there, making sure that democracy and freedom and whatever could live another day. And despite the fact that I have been actively pursuing this disability fight and have been doing all the right things in order to do it these last 4 years, despite all of that, despite the outcome of my the potential outcome of my hearing in a couple of days, even if it's not determined that I need to go to a second round of hearings with yet another judge, and a different level of advocacy for myself, even if I win in 2 days, I may not get a dime. I might not. I might not see a single penny of the money that I have been putting into the system for all this time, because we have no idea what's going on in Washington right now. We've got Doge ripping through countless programs, including Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, trying to find enough money to fund tax cuts for billionaires who already get so much corporate tax welfare just through the companies that they own. Like, for instance, like, say, as far as SNAP and Medicaid goes, Walmart is a company that not only do they get a lot of corporate subsidies that pass, of course, wealth on to the owners, the Walton siblings, who are largely broadly the controlling members of the board of Walmart, but they also somehow manage, despite being a multi-billion-dollar corporation, that's one of the largest retailers in the country, despite generating all of that wealth for their board and the inherited owners of said company, they also managed to pay their workers low enough that Walmart workers are the largest recipient group of SNAP and Medicaid out of any retail employed people in the country. And when you work at a really large mega store, such as a Walmart, with usually a grocery or some type of small market attached to it, even if they don't have produce, they usually at least have a non-perishables and perhaps a frozen section. Well, what happens is these folks who are, needing services. I mean, there have been Walmarts that I've seen in the past where in the break room, the employee break room, they were doing a coat drive for their fellow employees and the children of said fellow employees, because actual employees, adults who were working there, could not afford a coat, despite working at Walmart and getting an employee discount. But yeah, these folks spend their hard-earned money at the store that they work in because they get a discount there. And what are they often spending on top of their paycheck? So the company gets corporate subsidies. They then pay these employees, who are then putting their money back into the corporation. So it's almost like they're paying the company back for the privilege of getting to work there. And on top of that, the SNAP money and maybe some of the TANF money or any of the other, or Social Security money, whatever these folks are getting as a social safety net thing, because their job cannot cover their finances and their needs, that government money is also getting fed back into Walmart. Like, it's all getting fed back to them. And yet, these people who work for companies like Walmart are now facing the idea that this money that they get from the government, that they give to the corporate overlords for whom they work, basically Walmart gets most of their paycheck and all that government food money, and essentially it kind of negates the cost of their employees, like their staff, like their employee costs are virtually brought down by, I don't know, it's got to be an incredible amount. I mean, who's really sat to calculate just how much? But yeah, these people are going to be losing SNAP and Medicaid and Social Security possibly, and so they're going to make up for that. How? Exactly. And, are these tax cuts for these corporations worth the loss of, employee, stability and ability to survive? I don't know, I guess they don't really care, do they? It's not their problem. They're getting money back on the front end instead of having to wait. So, nom, 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 get that money. In the meantime, people like me who have been fighting for years, we get to have a sort of Damocles hanging over our heads. And yeah, that's not great. Not a big fan of that. But, c'est la vie, y'all. It's basically become my amen at this point. Such is life. Like, it's the thing I have to repeat to myself over and over. Like, yep, c'est la vie. This is just how it be right now, and I can't do shit about it except for bitch on the internet and knit and wait. And see if maybe someone might decide to throw the poor folk a bone for once, but 2025 sure doesn't seem to be that year, does it, kids? Well, anyway, neighbors, I've about rambled long enough. I'm going to sit here for a bit, contemplate my navel, and do some more knitting. And I hope that you guys have a great afternoon. Keep fighting. Let me know in the comments if you've got any concerns or anything that you have been worried about since the start of all of this. And till the next time, Xanarchy in the 603 out.